Alright, y'all. How's it going? You guys are back with Paul McGregor, City to City Hustle. I don't know. Tonight I just wanted to get on here and talk. See what my shirt says. Bad habits. A lot of us grew up having bad habits, and we still do to this day. Some we may notice, some we may not. But I believe those bad habits have to be dealt with accordingly. If not, then you'll forever be stuck in a place that you don't want to be in. You'll continue to blame others for all of your mistakes and for what you go through in life and where you're currently at in life because of the bad habits that you decide to hold on to. I don't want to be one of those people, and you shouldn't either. Again, to introduce myself, my name is Paul. I'm 22 years old. Birthday is this month, March 25th. I'm a young father and entrepreneur. You guys know I own City to City Home Cleaning LLC. You guys should also check out our new website. We just had a website drop, so check that out. It's about to be a game changer this year for City to City, man. If you check out my social medias, you'll see the journey. I haven't really done much here on YouTube, but it'll soon come. But let's talk about those bad habits. One of my bad habits is waking up in the middle of the night, but not going back to sleep sometimes. I don't want to say because the body doesn't allow me to, but I wake up and I get up out of bed. Sometimes you should just lay down back in bed or just don't even get up. But I can say when I am up in the middle of the night sometimes, I'm productive. But that gap of sleep throughout the middle of the night sometimes interferes with my mornings, which I do not like. I'm a morning person. I like to be up when the sun is up, or as the sun is rising, I should say. But that's just one of my bad habits. I believe it can be worked on, but hey, I wake up in the middle of the night, I wake up. But I need to focus on going back to sleep and getting the rest that I need, the body, the brain. Because waking up tired sometimes, I wouldn't say it affects me physically, because I get up and I go. Or no, let me say mentally. Let me say it doesn't affect me mentally, because I get up and I go. Now, as far as physically, sometimes that's where things can get a little shaky. You wake up, you don't have enough rest. Job still got to get done. Job is still going to get done, but the lack of sleep has you lagging, has you wanting to take more breaks. Even wanting to go home, but as a business owner and operator, you have that option, but it's you. If someone doesn't show up, then who has to show up at the end of the day? You. So job still has to get done, but lack of sleep, you're left lagging. The body's just lagging. You're like, oh man, I need sleep. I'm tired. This, that, and the third. So that's one of my bad habits I need to work on. I guess you should say is first step is always noticing and recognizing that bad habit. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm only 22. About to be 23 this month. The way things are going, the way things have been going, it's great. I love it. I love my life. I love my children, my family, my fiance. I have two beautiful daughters. One is 4, and one is about to turn 1 right after I turn 23. Um, let's see. Another bad habit. Another bad habit for me. The way I eat sometimes. And it may not even be the way I eat. It may be not eating. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're just so busy and on the move. And it's like, damn. But at the same time, you have to eat. You have to feed the body. You have to feed the brain. Because if not, where will you eventually be? You could only survive off of water for so long. I love my fruits and vegetables. I also love to cook. I love to cook. But you know what? Skip bad habits. Let's talk about the good habits. The good habits that we have. You know what I mean? Waking up every day. I love to wake up. The Lord blesses me with that every day. And you know, when I do, I always do something productive. No matter what it is. Every second, every minute of the day, I'm trying to be productive. So I feel like that, yeah, it is. I got it right. I feel like that's a good habit. It is a good habit, in my opinion. Another good habit I have is taking care of my children. Taking care of my children. Being a leader, a provider. You know, someone that being a father. Someone that my children can, come to, that they can depend on. That's me. There's a difference between a dad and a father, like they all say. there's a big difference. I show up every moment. I'm always there. My 11-month-old, that's about to be 1. She's here in the home every day. Me and the mother are together. My fiance, Olivia, which you guys will see soon. And that's Zaharia. And I have my 4-year-old. That's Ocean, which she's now more frequently around every weekend, every week. Which is a beautiful blessing. It wasn't like that at first. And for me to be able to have that, it wasn't easy. Sometimes things don't go well between the parents. Sometimes the parents split. And whether you decide to leave or not, when that does happen, you're betrayed. Like, oh, you left your child, you left this household, you left me, you left your child as well, which I don't I don't agree with, and I don't understand. Why a lot of women are like that, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? You gotta move on from that point when that happens. Um. So yeah, like I said, I don't get why they're like that, but you never you never stop the fight, and I don't mean verbally. I don't mean physically. But like mentally, you have to you have to deal with that separation, while still going hard for your child, no matter what. For instance, like my situation, Ocean wasn't even 1 years old yet when I had my first court case open for her. I was, what, 17, 18 years old? Yeah, 18. 18, probably going on 19. And I had to open up a court case because that's just what it is. When the mother refuses, you can't cause harm. You can't hate. You know what I mean? And you can't change the way you feel towards your child at the end of the day. And if the only way there is to take it to the system, the courts, then do that. You know, I wouldn't say it's super easy, but it's not as hard as a lot of people make it seem. Um, Again, that was my first time. I got granted time with my daughter after a lot of bad things were trying to be portrayed against me and used against me, but didn't reflect on the type of father or parent that I was and that I am today. So I got granted some time. Things were going well. Things started to go well between me and the mother. They were looking to put me on child support, which at the time I was kind of worried about, but at the same time, not too worried. You know what I mean? Because it's my child at the end of the day. So things were going well between me and the mother, and eventually we were like, okay, we can do this without the courts. And we met up one day. I believe it was at a Starbucks out in Levine. We met up one day. I tried to write out a plan, a parenting plan, something that we could both sign off on and agree to, and go and get notarized and submit it to the courts. That didn't go well whatsoever. It did not go well. She did not want to sign. She did not want to have nothing set in stone. Of course, me being silly old me and young, I still said, okay, we go ahead and close the court case. Right after we signed off and closed that court case, guess what happened? She stopped allowing me to see my daughter. She stopped allowing me to see her. Meaning as there was no order or anything that she had to follow. And the child was in her care. There was nothing that I could enforce on that, So she stopped allowing me to see her. Time went on. She let me get her once in a while, this, that, and the third. Time went on and on, And kind of regretted what I did at the moment, but I didn't let it go on for too much longer. At that time I was roommates with one of my buddies, and I was living in Tempe. Living in Tempe, Arizona at the time, roommating. And when she stopped allowing me to see her, I knew something had to change. Something else had to change. And it didn't change fast, but it did over time. I came up with a plan, a realistic plan, to get myself out of the situation that I was in, out of the position that I was in at the time. You know, because I knew I had a daughter in this world, and I wasn't gonna stop the fight no matter what. All the deadbeat baby daddy and deadbeat this and oh you're not a father this and you're not there this that and the third, and like they could miss me with that. I don't they could miss me with that. I don't fall for it, you know. And I didn't just do what I did to not be called those things, because I was called those things either way. But again, I came up with a plan, a realistic plan, and I changed my life around. Not immediately, but I got myself in a position. Me and my fiance at the time now. Back then, back then we were together, and we both put ourselves in a position to get our own place. Like I said, things weren't easy, but it's possible. It's all possible with the plan. No matter what, it's possible. So things went on, and we eventually got our own place. I started working a 9 to 5 at Circle K, and let me tell you this: keeping a 9 to 5 was hard for me. It was hard, and I can admit that. But at the time, the manager that I had, shout out Ron, he just retired. I heard that through the grapevine. Time to be with his grandchildren. But shout out Ron. If it wasn't for the manager that I had at the time, I probably wouldn't have lasted long there either. But he saw something in me. He saw something in me. I went for my interview. He hired me on. It was right across the street from my house. And I got that job. I stayed there for 2 years. And within that time, I had a plan to start my business. To start my business, my cleaning business. And I had previously started prior to that, and I failed. I wouldn't say I gave up, but I failed due to car issues, and I just left it be at the time. But after getting into our apartment, me working a 9 to 5 at Circle K, and seeing how I kind of treated my 9 to 5, and knowing that, getting up and clocking in on that clock, and just having to be there when someone else is kind of telling me to, you know what I mean? I don't know. It did something to my mental. I showed up most days, but there was a lot of days that I didn't show up as well. So, again, thank you, Ron, for holding on to me for so long. But in that meantime, I was slowly investing in myself and in the business that is now, thriving today. Because at the same time, me not being able to really, I'm not going to say being able to, because I was able to keep a 9 to 5 for 2 years at Circle K, like I said. But me not really having a mindset for that 9 to 5, I knew in the meantime I had to put something together to create something where I wouldn't have to work a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Then at the same time, I needed something that would provide not for just me, my fiance, but a child at the time, which was Ocean. But now we have 2. So I knew I had to come up with a plan and not a short-term plan, but a long-term plan with a long-term goal, to be able to take care of my family, to be able to get my daughter Ocean, to be able to fight for my daughter, and to be able to live the life and have the freedom that I want to have. I knew I had to put something together, and I had to go hard. I had to build it. So those 2 years while working at Circle K, like I said, I was building my business day by day, brick by brick. Early mornings at Circle K, late nights at commercial buildings and commercial accounts that weren't mine yet. That were, I'm not gonna say never were gonna be mine, but I was gonna get my own eventually. Now I do. So yeah, early mornings, late nights, 7-day weeks, no days off. Just grinding. Grinding. Why? Because I had a plan. I had a plan to go fight for who? My daughter. You know what I mean? Like I said, it wasn't easy. But anything is possible again with the plan. So I had a plan, and I stuck to that plan. And when the time came, I filed those papers again with the courts. You know what I mean? I filed those papers, and I did what I needed to do, because at that point, I was allowing that to happen. You know what I mean? I was allowing her to keep my child away from me by not applying that pressure that needed to be applied. And it's sad to say, but most men are afraid and scared, so scared of child support. Like, I understand, I get it, but I don't. At the end of the day, I don't. Because if that's what it takes for you to be a present father, not dad, in your child's life, then that's what it takes. Like, me filing with the courts, I put myself on child support pretty much. You know what I mean? But like I said, it is what it is. I get to see my daughter, every week, every weekend. I get to see my daughter. No questions asked. So that's really it. I don't want you guys to be afraid of child support. You know what I mean? And when I say a lot of people think it's super hard, I say it's not so hard, because there's paperwork that you can file. I forget the name of it. I'll find it and put it in the comments somewhere. There's paperwork that you can file. Oh, it's a deferral of waiver of fees that you can file that you file first. And then you file your court paperwork if you're approved. And the deferral waiver of fees is you get to file your court case and get everything started in process. Get to have your first court date, all those things. And then later on, pay the court fees and everything for the filings. Only thing you gotta pay right then and there is your process server, which is about $100 or less. Everything else, the expensive court fees and filings and all that stuff, you don't gotta pay till later. And you can even get on a payment plan with that thing. So, again, everybody think it's so hard, but it's not as hard as you think it is. Like I said again, most people are just afraid of child support. And child support can go a long way, but if that's what it's gonna cost for me to be in my child's life, then that's what it is. Eventually, things will be squared away, even hopefully, and nobody will be paying child support. And if not, then so be it. I still get to be a present father in my daughter's life. Um, I no longer allow the mother to, oh, you can't get your child today. You can't this, you can't that. No, she doesn't have that power over me anymore. And all men should have that same energy when it comes to their children. You know what I mean? Um, don't don't give up. Don't give up. um, like I said, I'm only 22 years old, and the life that I have lived in such amount of short time frame, it's crazy, but it's amazing. The 360 in life and the turns that you can make, all with the plan and sticking to that plan and being consistent with that plan. Um, you know, I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. Again, I'm happy where I am in life. I have goals. You have to live with goals and set some realistic goals. You know, something that you can achieve at the end of the week or the end of the month. You know, something that you can set a realistic plan out to get to. We all have big dreams and big goals, but like I said, set something small. See how it is and see how it feels when you hit that mark and you achieve that goal. Um, but yeah, there's no excuses when it comes to our children. As men, you have to be stronger. You have to defeat the mind. And don't be afraid. Give it all you got. You don't, the way things are, like Arizona, they say is a mother's state, yada yada yada, but you don't even need a lawyer to do this stuff. Get down to the courthouse, get to the law library, get some packets, take some notes, learn. Most of these packets and paperwork now give you plain instructions to go with them on how to fill them out and what to put where and why to put what where. So it's simple. Wake up tomorrow and go do it. Everyone who sit around and say, "Oh, she's not letting me see my kids. She's not letting me see my daughter, my son, this, that, and the third." After so much amount of time go by, you allow that, and that's all I gotta say. You allow that. Can't blame her no more. After so much time that went by, and you ain't stepped up to do and take action, you know, where you need to take action at. So stop all that complaining and just put the foot down. You know what I mean? Like I said, take this advice and take it far. Take it far. And not only that, my daughter's 4. She's growing fast. At first, like the first year of me really getting her, I didn't really feel the connection and the love. You know, that was what was kind of hard. I didn't feel like the connection and love at first. It was always, I want to go to mommy's. I want to go to mommy house. I want to go sleep at mommy house. Um, but I had to understand that. You know what I mean? I had to understand that for me not being present from day one up until that time, you know what I mean? That's a lot. So I had to understand that. But within that whole year, I didn't stop. I didn't stop doing what I needed to do. I didn't stop showing her the love that I needed to show her, giving her the love that I needed to give her. And now it's different. Like, it's different. I feel the joy, I feel the happiness when she comes over. You know what I mean? She loves to see me. She's excited when she sees me. She know daddy can be strict, and that's just gonna be me because you're the child, I'm the father. But you're gonna grow up and be raised with respect and taught the right way. And that's it. The way I was raised by my grandparents, it was different ball game. A lot of people call me old, but I'm only 22. I'm only 22, about to be 23. But like I said, a lot of people call me old already. But like I said, over that year, I never stopped, and now things are different. Now she wants to come over. Now she wants to spend a night. You know, it's not always, I want to go back to mommy house. It's not always that anymore. So being present, it, it's real. And from day one, kids, they can feel it. And they're very smart from day one. I used to always feel like the mother was portraying me as a bad person to my daughter and trying to make me be the bad guy all the time. But then yet, outside of that thought, I knew what I had to do consistently. I had to show her who I really was, the type of father that I really am. You know what I mean? And that's it. Over time will do what it needs to do. So yeah, and I want my children to be raised different. Like, I'm not here to talk about nobody's parenting because we're all young parents, but we need to raise our kids, in a different way. A lot of us don't have the patience that we need to have with our children. And patience is the number one thing right there. Patience. Just taking the time to talk to your kids sometime in the proper way. Not yelling, not going overboard. Just be patient and gentle. And not only that, but make sure they understand. Make sure they understand what's going on. A lot of people think just because kids are so smart, this, that, and the third, they understand everything. Sometimes you got to break it down to them. Most of the time, you got to break it down to them. 'Cause what you think they understand, they don't. Half the time, they don't. Um, you know, so take your time with the kids. Take your time. And I'm Uncle Paul now too, so I mean I've been Uncle Paul for a while. Let me not say now, but I got a lot of kids, nephews, nieces. Got a lot of people that's looking up to me. Um, and I gotta do my best. I'ma forever show up. You know what I mean? But again, what we all think, or what we all may say sometimes is easy, is not easy. It's not. But stop believing in impossible and start believing anything is possible, because anything is possible. Where I am today in life, with my family, my business, um, I'm successful. Got a long way to go, but I'm successful. And it means a lot to me. Because like I said in the beginning, I can be able to lead, provide, and give, be present in my children's lives every step of the way. And if I'm only 22 years old, standing up for what I stand up for, any of you can do it. Any of you can do it. And let me tell you one thing, when you do go to court, I hope whoever out there that was in my situation or is in my situation, as far as like their children or whatnot, don't go in there blaming the mother. That's the wrong thing you want to do. That's the last thing you want to do. The judge gonna look at you like you crazy. He gonna look at you like you crazy. And I just say take action now. Take action now. My daughter's only 4 years old. It would have been crazy if I waited till she was 10. Disappointment. It would have been crazy, but I didn't do that. And I don't want you to. So, stand up what you gotta stand up for. The sooner the better. Me being 22 years old, age is just a number. And it's never too late. It's never too late. Just gotta wake up and do it. Do it like Nike. again. City to city hustle. Y'all take it or leave it. I'll be back soon. And y'all got any questions? Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Because most of the time, there's an answer to everything. And there's always a way. You just gotta believe. You just gotta believe. Alright, man. Y'all, let me know what y'all think. Y'all ain't even gotta let me know what y'all think for real, but like, share, subscribe, all that. And I'll be back with more, because we got a lot to talk about.